Hello, welcome to Imaginations Project. I am Zhao, the director of the Electronic Science and Technology Museum, University of Electronic Science and Technology of China in Chengdu, China. Working as the chair of the UMAC Futures, that's an organization of emerging scholars from university museums around the world. We have interviewed 14 emerging scholars online from different university museums, different countries and continents, to listen to their voice, to follow their imaginations. The Imaginations project is kind of the description and the observation of the current image from their perspectives. We believe it brings more hope, energy, and vitality. So you can check all the videos on UMAC website and the YouTube channel if you are interested. ICOM 2022 took place in Prague, Czech last August, and I was there and met friends we have interviewed. Eva from Czech, Marina from Spain, and I got to know more new colleagues and friends there, and a new very good colleague and friend from South Africa. We talked a lot about university museums there. Let's welcome Amohelang. She is the curator of the NWU Gallery, Northwest University in South Africa. She and the team of the gallery curated many fabulous exhibitions there, and we could see the virtual versions as well. So could you please say hello to the audience and give us a brief introduction of yourself and the NWU Gallery? Amo, please.
Hi, it's good morning in South Africa, and it's gonna be good evening for you on the other side. But thank you so much. It's quite a privilege and an honor to be participating in the Imaginations project with you, Zhao. And it's also been a great privilege to also meet you in person. When we began, I met you online, and then we met in Prague. And I'm so glad that we have kept in constant communication and in touch, and you have actually given me this opportunity to present my imaginations futures from South Africa. And as you said, my name is Amohelang Mohajani. I'm the Northwest University Art Gallery Curator and Collections Manager. And I mean, my job is to basically manage relationships with exhibition stakeholders, including artists, collectors, gallerists, service providers, curators, and academics. And this is actually also allowing us to assist and work and lead on writing artist profiles, social media content, then where we create like mini projects where we create pick of the day artist features, curatorial text, exhibition reviews, newsletters, and essay publications. And in my short career as a curator, I've served as a digital data archivist, a research coordinator, a seasonal lecturer for Tshwane University of Technology, and also for the Northwest University honors student. And we've actually used the university collection with these various projects. So also through my various occupations, I have kind of like, showing dedication to the museum world. And I think with the enthusiasm that I have and the resourcefulness, I'm working towards excelling in my presentation of diverse projects that I have been entrusted with. And, I mean, serving as a curator and working with in this field for the last 15 years, I believe that I've kind of contributed powerfully to the visual and academic narratives of, relative to feminism, post-colonialism, and South African and African art. So, I mean, my capabilities as a curator speak for, exciting exhibitions that I've curated, and most of the collaborations that I've worked with and in partnership with South African museums, and again on an international scale. And some of the establishments that I've worked for is the University of Johannesburg and Tshwane University of Technology, Constitution Hill, which is where the Constitutional Court of South Africa is based. And I've also worked with partners like the Klerksdorp Museum, Wits Art Museum, William Hartfree Art Gallery, and the Art Bank South Africa. So that's a brief introduction of the kind of work that I've done. So yeah.
Thank you, Amo. You did quite excellent, diverse work in African art and with a connection with other colleagues around the world. Thank you. And let's just get started. We have 4 simple questions for you to share your ideas about university museums and connections. So the first question is, what is the specific project or program you are working on right now, and why is that?
Oh, this is exciting because in most of the conferences that I've attended on an international scale, and with the workshops that I've also have been a part of, is that always when I speak of a rediscovered archive, which is an archive that stems from the University of Bophuthatswana, in short, UNIBO, that is of historical relevance to how the Northwest University became established, you know, because this University of Bophuthatswana became part of the Northwest University together with the Vaal Triangle campus. So we've got 3 campuses, and the Northwest University Art Gallery is both based on the Potchefstroom campus. So this archive was discovered on the Mafikeng campus. And we also have another campus on in the Vaal, which is in Gauteng. So Potchefstroom and Mafikeng are in the Northwest province of South Africa. And this archive was discovered in the museum and records of the Northwest University. And it actually dates back to 1985. So this is an archive that is containing over 50 artworks of the alumni of the University of Bophuthatswana Fine Art Department. And in 2019, I started conducting scholarly research. And through this intellectual inquiry, I started exploring different ways in which the archive actually interacts with itself, and again, with the South African historical context. So the current project that I'm working on currently, from when I began in 2019, because I think I've curated over 5 exhibitions with this particular archive. But the one that is currently, you know, of interest is, again, this same archive, the University of Bophuthatswana archive, but I'm particularly looking at 3 artworks that speak to the Western historical canon and context, where students have got re-representations of artworks from Diego Rodriguez Velasquez and Francesco Goya. So these 3 artworks are separate artworks. We've got the woman, the old woman frying eggs from 1618 by Diego Velasquez. And then we've got 2 separate Francesco Goya, which are artworks that are depicting the 3rd of May, which happened in 1808. So these artworks are quite intriguing because they have pictorial representations of how the students so like retold their own narratives within these artworks that are kind of like creating a conversation of intertextuality and, you know, narratology. And I mean, this communicative element was quite intriguing for me. So it's currently what I'm actually looking at, and how this particular you know, historically Black university then has to offer, you know, in the South African historical canon, and again also looking at how we can have these relationships also working with the current, which is the year 2023, and as I am looking at it, and it's quite interesting because I have recently now registered to do my MA, which is a Master's of Art in Art History. So this is the three artworks that I'm actually looking at, and I'm kind of also will be presenting this particular paper at the upcoming UMAC conference in Sydney, and I'm very excited to be actually able to, you know, be the first to actually explore these important archival works and reinsert them into the historic the canonical structure of art history in the world. So I'm really excited, and that is the current exhibition and curatorial work that I am actually delving into at the moment.
Thank you very much, Amo. I feel so excited that what you are doing and what you have done with projects. You dig deeper and deeper with same archive, and you have 5 or more exhibitions based on the same archive. It's very exciting, and that's called, I think I call it the research work. Sometimes we call something work research, right? But sometimes we call research work. The work was driven by research. So yes, and the exhibition was driven by the research. And I saw that you combine the work and the research so closely. And the second one, I realized that the point is you use a narration diagram when you are doing education. So when we do education, we just we not only teach the students in one direction, but have them involved, and we construct something together. So it's very interesting, and thank you. I feel so excited with your project. Okay, let's just move to this. Okay, let's just move to the second one. And what is the most unforgettable experience when you are dealing with the project?
It was a chance that allowed me to kind of like right you know, start exploring this archive. As you say, the research led me to exploring deeper and deeper into this particular archive. And the most exciting part about these things is being able to write for an international conference, you know, and showing the world that you have discovered this particular thing and you are working towards, you know, yielding, I mean, 4 exhibitions and having participate in projects that that have opened up opportunities, you know, to kind of like go into the international sphere with regards to this particular archive, and to also work collaboratively using this archive as a teaching element, you know, to offer educational perspectives and allowing also, I mean, I've also worked with young aspiring curators who we collaborated and co-curated exhibitions, partnering with the Emory University, you know, with a cohort of students that the gallery has trained through a program that I created for students to coming from different fields, you know, to work together using this archive to create exhibitions. And again, also working with a research niche at the Northwest University, the visual narratives and creative outputs that I joined in 2020, where I was given an opportunity again to kind of like be a head curator for an exhibition, also working again with students within that, the Faculty of Humanities. And again, also being able to present this particular archive, again, with what you also mentioned earlier, that we've had, online exhibitions and 3D, exploring the technology, with the Digital Humanities Association of Southern Africa, who also held a conference at the Northwest University on the Vaal campus, So, I mean, I've worked with this exhibition where we revealed the archive in the beginning, where we had the decades in waiting. So this archive has been dormant in a storeroom for many decades, and now it's coming out of this of the storerooms, and then it's been then we are starting to unravel and telling the untold stories of this particular archive, where we now start finding the human beings that have actually created the particular objects. And the most exhilarating thing was to actually find the students that were part and parcel of creating this amazing thing. And again, also, what is also exciting is how then we translate this archive and put it onto Metaport technology, then where we kind of like then start moving forward to digitize this archive and understanding the technology for preservation purposes and archival, and using it as an archival tool to actually go back. We've had an exhibition in 2019 which didn't have a digital version, but the rest of these other exhibitions have a digital copy and are now sent into the metaverse, which are now creating another life of their own. So it's quite fascinating into how digging deeper into one specific archive can yield so many levels of communication, so many levels of expanding knowledge, and creating opportunities for further education and training in terms of how we can physically preserve and also work with this archive.
Okay, thank you, Amo. I'm totally agree that when we are working on or research on something, we should not just consider the near 3 or 4 years, but for a long many decades, right? With technologies development, we can use them. We can create more dimensions of the archive or the objects, and use them as teaching elements for the students. And further question is that what backgrounds of the students were involved in your project?
I mean, they were from different fields. We had
Yes.
somebody that was from HR, and then
Okay.
we had somebody that was coming from the tourism, and we also had somebody that was coming from an art historical background. So, I mean, the gallery has seen students that even come from the law faculty, working together with the university collection, students that are studying microbiology, collaborating with us and working on these exhibitions. So it's really been an extensive program that has spread throughout the university, not necessarily just keeping it within the art historical background, but expanding and creating other opportunities for other students that are coming from different faculties. Yes. So it's been exciting to have that.
Yeah, it's like the ice ball rolling and more and more students from different disciplines background get involved, and I think so. It's called that university museums are the best interdisciplinary platform, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and in our museum, we also initiated some projects like this, and we actually in my university we do not have students from the museology field, but we have a lot of students from the science and engineering disciplines. So we started some projects to curate a micro exhibition just for one object, and some students from the microelectronics, from communication engineering, or from the north discipline, they get together into a group and then they try to do something different from their disciplines, and they get the knowledge from the project. And I think it has more and more chemistry effects, actually. Yes, and they creates more innovation for us for the museum.
Yeah. I think it's important to gather students that are coming from different faculties, and having what we call an object analysis and creating an exhibition out of one object. And that is what I am aiming to do with these three artworks, to kind of zoom into and look at how they can then create their own textual language, in terms of representing either whether be it the context of how the artworks came to be, or the history of the particular object that they are, interrelated to, or have a commonality with, in terms of intertextuality. So
Yes.
it's quite interesting when we have students that are coming from different fields, that they also bring their own knowledge to the table, and also allow us to see things in a different sense.
Yeah, and in another way, I think the nature of the world, maybe sometimes we can regard it as the same one, and students from different disciplines, they just they got some different expression way or expression approach, and if we have more and more different approach, so we can find the real nature.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's just move to the third question. If you are curating an exhibition, yes, you are curating an exhibition. What object do you want to connect or display most?
I mean, for the mere fact that I'm dealing with this particular archive, I'm much more attracted to archival artworks, artworks that have got a sense of place, a history that is embedded in them. So, I mean, with the collection that we have at the Northwest University, with over 1,700 objects in our collection, I mean, the next aim would be then to kind of like look into what I have done before, which is now exploring these digital spaces and digital curation of these things. So it would ideally be looking at artworks, particularly paintings that have provenance, and look at, like, do a little bit of more in-depth research into these particular objects. It's much easier working with paintings because there's really usually a story that a particular artwork has in itself, and you can tell a story about that particular artwork from even knowing the person that actually has created this artwork. So I mean, paintings are the kind of objects that I would explore. And I mean, the main aim and maybe the curatorial element that I would look at is to kind of like find missing information, because my interest is in the library information science. So with looking at provenance for these artworks, I would actually look at the history that is embedded in these particular objects. So my exhibition will be more textual, a lot of reading material to the history of each and every single object. So it will be quite text heavy, but it will be an exploration of a particular object where it tells the timeline and historicities. So the stories that are behind this particular archive.
Thank you, Amo.
That's the kind of exhibition that I'm looking at. But then
Yes,
also
yes.
more I mean, I would also digitize this particular exhibition.
Yeah, and I know. So you mean you just wanted to use more methods, more approaches to analysis the same one, right? The paintings, maybe with some technology, right? To find the material, textile, or something, right? And so.
Yeah.
Do you think the digitalization will lose something or some information of the paintings or the object? What do you think of that?
Yeah. As I mean, you know, digitization has its pros and it also has its own cons. I mean, if you're dealing with textual elements in terms of the texture of artworks that are exhibited in your show, you will definitely lose completely all those ephemeral. The sense of touch is completely then taken away. So what we can then do is that if we have this exhibition open to the public, the ones that actually experience the exhibition in person are the ones that are going to have much more of a takeaway. I mean, this is actually what happened with us, with the world through which when we experienced the global pandemic. Everything basically either moved online or it ceased to exist. So so the reason why I was exposed to this technology was to kind of like save moments, or like kind of like create like a time capsule, which is similar to the kind of project that you also did, where it was like the like create like what do you call it, a time machine, you know, kind of like
time
track
capsule.
yeah, create this kind of capsule where you are recording the exhibitions that you have exhibited in your museum, to be able to tell the world what histories were either embedded, or the context in which you had to then rather move from having a physical exhibition to having a digital exhibition. So it will either have to be narrated stories of the textuality of the elements that are in the exhibition, but with the digital exhibitions, the sense of touch is completely lost. So it's a good tool in terms of archival purposes, but not such a great one in terms of if you have to make people feel the material of the painting. You know, if you have to set up a table to create a palette, they will either have to kind of like visualize it. They will
Yes.
not be able to experience it in a physical sense.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Amo. I got the answer. And let's move to the last question. So it's called the relay question. It's from our last speaker, UMAC 2023 student committee from University of Australia. They are Amy Morrison, Scott Liu, Ruby Grant, John Fisher, and Louisa Ponson. So they asked, before that, I proposed that I said students, okay, you can propose the five questions for the next speaker, and the next speaker is bad luck. Okay, and they yes, they showed their mercy. So they said they will get the five questions into one. So the question is, how would they expose memories that are attached to the objects that they are displaying? And if they think it's important to uncover all the layers of the objects, or they prefer to focus on only one aspect of the object?
It's not a difficult question. It's actually what I am currently busy doing with this particular archive. You know, digging deeper and opening up layers and layers on top of layers. And with this archive, remember, to preserve an object is to either, in a sense, curate the exhibitions as a whole. Like I've also mentioned earlier, we've had over 4 exhibitions using this archive in different ways and exploring different ways of how to get the memory. And I mean, one amazing thing that could actually be yielded from this whole experience with this archive is to in a sense be able to write a book. This book will then have, because I'm also planning to conduct interviews with the actual students and the professors that created the department, and also try and see if there are some stories, untold stories that the students or the alumni can relay, that can actually be preserved in the book as a form of a memory. The digital exhibitions are also already a tool that we are also using to curate and create memory for the particular archive. And what I've also wanted to also explore is to kind of like expose it to an international audience, and actually see if we can have like schools that are particularly prone to educating students using old masters artworks, so that they can actually have a look and see, and could probably share their own knowledge, for this archive. So I mean, I just squeezed it into what I'm currently working with, which is this archive, which is where my interest lies in terms of, digitizing this particular archive for future use. And for me to create a memory for this would be to have a book that speaks to those exhibitions that we've had, and also that documents individually these specific objects, and also using this archive more and more as a teaching tool, and to create like a full extensive curriculum for the current generation that is coming.
Okay. Thank you, Amo. Get to know that, and you give us a very excellent example of how to expose the memory of the object, and how to focus on some of the aspect. I should say that, because for me it's in the research we have to uncover all the layers as we can of the objects. But when we curate something, or when we express our emotions, or express or deliver our messages, some messages to the audience, we just pick some layers. So it's just for me, and you give us a great example. Okay, so you are the 15 one, and what is your question to the next speaker, the number 16 speaker?
For the next speaker, if they were given a chance to explore more of their own museum collections, what other technologies would they use so that it's exposed to a wider audience?
Wow. Okay, get the question, and we'll move to pass it to the next speaker. Okay. Thank you, Amo. Thank you. So we have finished the 4 questions, and it's a wonderful talk with you. And thanks to the audience. That's all from us today. We have a great time, happy time. So we will see. I'll see you in Sydney. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amo. And don't forget UMAC Futures. We are coming. Okay. So goodbye, Amo.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Amo, we have finished the interview. It's very great to talk with you again, and I can see that your project goes very well, and we would like to know more if we have time in Sydney, and I hope everything goes well with your visa, with your flights, your accommodation, and we will see each other in the Sydney, the University of Sydney, and talk to more colleagues. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Stay well. Bye-bye.
See you, Amo. See you.